Well, Matthew was a pretty normal kid. He was a great athlete, and he could do anything. You'd see it once. He could play soccer, basketball, football, hockey, whatever he picked up he could do. And he was a wonderful outdoorsman. He loved to hunt and fish. Unfortunately, his life was great until he took his first substance, and after that was kind of the beginning of the end of his life, because he just continued to spiral out of control after that.
Our frontal lobes, that part of the brain that is responsible for what we call executive functioning, that part does not fully develop until our early to mid-20s. The adolescent brain is more sensitive to some of the effects of alcohol, but less sensitive to other effects. So that, for example, a teenager using alcohol is less likely to quickly have the sedating effects or the loss of motor control that adults experience with alcohol. Conversely, or in addition, the brain is more sensitive to some of the negative effects on learning and memory. And research has shown that adolescents who drink alcohol, specifically binge drink alcohol, do much more poorly on tests of memory and learning than their peers who do not use alcohol. And that effect persists between binge drinking episodes, and one could see how that would be a problem given that adolescents are in a key phase of learning in high school and college, and can just negatively impact their long-term trajectory.
He started out just, drinking, when he was probably 13 or 14, then it expanded to, marijuana, and you think, oh, it's just marijuana. Well, that's probably one of the most addictive drugs we have out there now. And he used it so frequently and in such great amounts that it gave him a psychosis. So the last year and a half of his life was absolutely tormented.
Matthew was an extreme person. He could have been on those TV shows of extreme golfing, extreme fishing, extreme hunting, because he just wouldn't be halfway in. He would be all the way in. So he had that kind of extreme personality. And I do believe that's how he went into substance use, to the extreme.
90% of alcohol use in adolescence is of a binge drinking nature, and so that is what most of the research and evidence is of. It seems to be particularly harmful just because of the high levels of blood alcohol that are achieved in that time. And there's the question as to why do adolescents primarily binge drink? I think there's a variety of reasons for that. Alcohol may not be as readily available on a day-to-day basis, but perhaps more importantly, adolescents are hardwired to risk-taking and novelty-seeking behaviors, and that ultimately leads to seeking out new things and becoming more independent. So again, developmentally, an appropriate developmental phase for adolescents, but when it comes to drinking alcohol, then it can quickly become drinking too much, and without that feedback from the sedating effects of alcohol and the loss of motor control that they're less likely to experience, they can quickly get themselves into trouble because of having consumed excessive amounts of alcohol.
I think Matthew did feel guilt, and because he couldn't even hold down a job really at the end. He could not be at a job. It was too difficult for him. And I think that was demeaning to him, just for him to know what he could do in the future. think he felt very helpless and hopeless.